Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. No, maybe not. Anybody who is unfamiliar, I am Tenacious Earl, and um, just had a video out here that released this morning, and I was at work, and I had this premonition that something was being dropped on my doorstep, and lo and behold, I get home, and something was dropped on my doorstep. Hello, each of you who are here. I'm going to do a little bit of a, I don't know, unbox, I guess is what they like to call that here. I thought about maybe I would just not bother, but then I was kind of remembering back to last week, and my friend at Baseball Demos, David, he said he had recorded an unboxing, and he wasn't sure he was going to release it, and I kind of encouraged him to do it. And so I think it's only fair now that if there's an unboxing to be done, maybe I should be doing it now. So hello, Phantomatic. So one of these days I probably should conceive some kind of a game to play with the people on the channel here, like what is it? You could start having people guess the manufacturer, the sport, the I don't know. Well, that might be the only two things that really make any sense. You know, all the above, whatever. But that might make it fun. But hello, Nat King Curry the fourth. In a couple days, I could say May the 4th be with you, but anyway. So, let me see here. So we've got a box, and I'm going to put it down here, and then it's going to. So give me a moment here. I'm going to do a little bit of adjustment to the view, and by to the view I don't mean the TV show. I'm sure, lots of fans of that TV show around here. But yeah, I think this will work. Let me see. Let's do right here. Okay. Now what I could do is I could probably zoom it in like right about here, and you'd start getting. Well, actually, it says it right there, so you probably can't see it right yet. But if I slide it this way, you will see L Matastratic. No, not Matastratic. Strat-O-Matic. The original fantasy sports games. And, you've got the address there if anybody wants to correspond with them. Now, I need to figure out a way to knock this guy out, right? What do we got here? Well, where did it go? Let's do ye old knife. Oh, see if I can do this without hurting myself. Carefully, just try to get the first layer. Oh, go easy. Easy does it, boy. A little bit. There. One more. That should just about do her. All right. Feels good to use something sharp on occasion, kind of get the old juices flowing here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and boom. What is this? Oh, right there. That probably gives it away right there. Now that does too. It is heavy. It ain't heavy. It's my Strat-O-Matic Pro Football. So this was something that the last couple of months I really started to say to myself, I'd like to get something else from the Strat-O-Matic line of games, and there were 3 other ones, and football is probably my A1 favorite sport to watch, and I don't see a ton of stuff out here about Strat football on the YouTubes. I guess one guy, Strat Delaware, definitely does some, and I think maybe Sports Time Machine has had a little bit here and there. But, you know, I guess I'm interested in kind of delving into this myself and seeing how this plays out as a potential simulation. I've obviously I've done second season, which is from Play Games, and anybody who is following Play Games YouTube channel knows that they've rolled out some stuff recently. So I would just, if you haven't joined their channel or subscribed to their channel, you might want to check it out. The things they've announced may suit you. So basically, it's sort of a re-release of a game they put out at the end of last year called Fury Football into another site called Play Now, with a couple other games in the works, and but I think they're going to go a little bit harder with the Fury Football. But anyway, yeah, so we've got Strat Football. It looks like, so I really, I've had, I would say that some might ask, do I keep track of a lot of the other channels and the videos and stuff? And I don't as much as I should. Part of that is that I don't necessarily want to spoil too much of my own enjoyment when I do finally go in on a game. Especially since I sort of feel like when you're a video producer, you'd kind of like to have some of the awe and, novelty and stuff of learning it yourself. Kind of like coming, bubbling to the top. You'd kind of like that to be something that, allows people to somewhat experience that by watching the videos as well. Maybe get a chance to learn the game, figure out if it's something that they want. And I kind of feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword, because then I don't really know if it's something I would really like before I get it. But on the other hand, as I said, I kind of think there is some fun in seeing somebody kind of, the sort of the exuberance and the of kind of like the progression of being sort of a novice, or not sort of being a novice with the game and then becoming, better and better at it. So, Mr. Moley has, hello, Mr. Moley. He has made an upgrade, and I can't imagine. Well, this probably looks better on the screen than if I had my face up there right now. So, but I'm sure a lot of you have played this game. I'm hoping that in the process of the next couple months, I can, really get up to speed with it. I'll probably horse around starting to learn it some, and then try to put out a couple games. And then, what I'd like to do is sort of ramp it up to where training camp starts in, July, and sort of have this be something that's, making its way into my rotation here as we go. And granted, like I said, I have another football game that I've played quite a bit. But let's actually open this guy up And I really, as I said, I've looked a little bit. I've done a little bit of looking on channels in the past, but not much. So, okay. Well, I guess the first thing to do is it's the 2017 season, and so they provide you with the rosters, which, yeah, again, I'm somewhat, I really don't have a whole lot of experience looking at the game and whatnot. So, like I'm going to take a look at 2017. That's going to be Buffalo. And what I see here, because I'm probably as much familiar with Buffalo's roster as anything, I see Kelvin Benjamin, Travaris Cadet, Charles Clay, Patrick DeMarco, Andre Holmes, Zay Jones, Jordan Matthews, LaShawn McCoy, Nick O'Leary, Nathan Peterman, Tyrod Taylor, Deontay Thompson, Mike Tolbert. So it tells me that the cards that you get are related to offense. So that's already something that I really wasn't quite aware of. But there's, as usual here, we have each roster. We have sort of looks like a play calling bias, we'll say, of each team. Some rule revisions. Those are kind of the types of things that you find on these roster sheets for a new season. So, yeah, so let's put this away. We've got these, which appear to be, I see guys on here that are mostly defensive players. So I guess these little guys must be related to defense. And then here is the 2017 season, which it looks like you get offense cards, but it looks like just going off the bat here, you've got what it says up here, and boy, there's a bit of a shine there, so that's going to make it tough. Let me lift it up a little bit. Looks like there's defense, elementary, and maybe on the other side is the advanced or something to that effect. I don't know. I don't want to open it up just yet because I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to compile all of them. Do I have enough envelopes for all this and all that stuff? That's the 2017 season. Get 3D6s, well, that are of the smaller variety, and one that's has 2 Ds and an X on it. I'm going to have to get familiar with the gameplay in order to really have something to do with it. And here is, I've seen this on some of the, I'm going to just put it up like this, on some of the screenshots on the website and stuff. There's some, so this is like the game board, and you've got over here, it looks like a timing system, and looks like this is all play calls. Again, I don't know much about, this is interesting because you've got down here, you've got a very, the board has a very antiquated feel to it, as far as like this logo down here at the bottom of the board is looks pretty primitive. It actually says 1968, all rights reserved, so it's kind of a maybe one of the original designs from the game. They may just reproduce these boards even today. I'd like to think that they've sold out of them. They've just been reproducing them, but that's pretty interesting that over time, and I'll be interested to see as we go along here and, I learn to play, if there's anything that doesn't quite sync up to the game that we know today, which is a little bit more of a speedy quarterback ground game, but also a vertical game as far as like the passing. You know, quarterbacks rule even more than they did back probably when this game. You back in this time frame, you had like Johnny Unitas and guys like that. They were kind of like the gold standard, and then eventually, Terry Bradshaw, I think, is respected because he won Super Bowls, but I don't know if he's considered right up there with all-time passers. But then, you get into the 80s with Marino and Elway and Kelly, and then, you move on later on to Manning and obviously Brady. Things have just progressed, Rodgers and such. So it'd be interesting to see how the game models things today compared to, maybe there'll be a point where I decide to get a historical set and see how the differences are between something that's from the past. And which it kind of looked, I didn't do a lot of looking, but it kind of looked like on the website that they didn't have a whole lot to offer. Maybe I was just looking in the wrong spot, but I'm sure there's a lot of stuff if I were to go to some of the aftermarket kind of guys that are out there who resell stuff. There's probably plenty of stuff to get a hold of on the market. So there's some play selectors. There's the advanced and there's the elementary. Looks like that's pretty good for head-to-head. They give you two of things for that. These look like a couple of scoring sheets. So as is probably the case with the baseball game, there's probably better ways to track stats that you can come up with yourself. But the rule book here, this looks like some other types of doodads as far as, let's see, right here is the game parts listed on the rule book. Discs and markers for use on the play selector and the game board. So that must be what these are. And a two-sided X chart. Is that what this is? Well, that's a penalty chart. Yeah, I guess that, it says X chart right at the top. So there's your X chart, which I'm sure has some fun stuff as the X chart does in the baseball game. So, and if anybody thinks I'm missing something, then feel free to mention it. I'm going to put things back in here. And so this is for David, Baseball Demos, this little unboxing, because he was worried that it wouldn't be received like it is must-see TV, and so I put one out here that may not be must-see TV either. So I'm going to go ahead and excuse the little squeaks and such. So, yeah, here we are back to, I really need to buy some kind of a screen I can drop it down here that gives me a green screen so I can put myself out at, like, New Era Field or, Citizens Bank Park or whatever venue I want to be at, kind of looking like I'm on scene. But let me take a look here. Can't go wrong. Craig W. Hi, Craig. And again, appreciate the game that you created. All-Star Lineup Baseball. I got a chance to play it last night, and honestly, hopefully I didn't mess too much up. That was my first playthrough. I did read the rules pretty intently, trying to get up to speed before I played the video, or play the game on the video. But there was a lot of dead space because I was looking up little bits of the rules. But it's definitely a game that's a real quick learn, and that's not because it's it's not because it's, you know, not quality. It's because it is, you know, it's just it's the mechanism is pretty quick to follow, and you know, it makes a lot of sense as you go along. And you know, if I were to play basic, I think I would be able to crank it out in very little time at all, because you don't really need to worry so much about the color coatings on the cards. But with the advanced game, it's still pretty quick. So anyway, let me see what else we got. Not a great night for Liverpool fans. Yeah, I assume that has to do with the league. Um, or wait, no, they probably they're playing Barcelona in the Champions League. So I didn't get a chance to see the score, but I would have expected that they wouldn't have an easy time with um, with Barca. But you know, you never know. There's always a second leg, and I guess Ajax also took an away victory, 1-0 over Tottenham. So Tottenham needs to score two on the road, and their defense needs to keep them down to one, I think, to be able to go through to the championship, you know, the final of that Champions League. So, but it kind of looks like, based on what Mr. Moley says, kind of sounds like it's going to be Barcelona and Ajax, which is kind of like the Johan Cruyff derby, if there is such a thing, as he was a legend at both clubs. Uh, the Dutchman. Uh, so, um, yeah, I missed Bart Starr when I was going through my little. So Mr. Moley had a couple of months to have to wait for it to get overseas. Baseball demos watching in the car. Be careful, bud. I I usually listen, try not to watch much, but you know how it is. It's fun to put on. You know, I always feel weird about putting YouTube on in the car, because I'm like, am I? You know, if I start it before I get the car moving, then if I don't look at the screen, am I still okay? Or if a cop were to pull me over for speeding, and you know, somehow he finds out that YouTube is going, you know, am I in trouble? I don't know. I think I probably am. So, you know, what we do for this hobby and for our hobbies. I'm hoping that maybe the cop would have some leniency. Uh, uh, you know, the police. I don't know. I guess it depends on your approach. Maybe if you act like you're guilty, then the guilt will come. I didn't look at the back side of the box. Uh, well, I'm not going to toss and turn this until after the video's over. I'm afraid I'm going to dump it all over the place, but I do want to look at the back side of the box there. So U.S. roads are straight for 30. Some of them are. Yeah, we get these interstates that tend to be a little more straight, and the curves tend to be a little more gradual, not as bendy. But where I grew up, there's a lot of winding, hilly turns. So yeah, you don't want to. But the other downside of those hilly turns is that in that kind of a region of America, there's probably not very good cell phone service, and so being able to stream LTE, stream a video, is probably not going to work out very well. So you're forced to listen to some country bumpkin radio station playing Garth Brooks or Alan Jackson or something of the sort. So on I-95, yeah, well, that is something that Baseball Demos and I have in common. We have I-95. I don't always take I-95, but I cross over it every day, so occasionally I will take it uh, if I'm interested in tempting fate and have been having some kind of suicidal thoughts. I will jump on I-95 and start screaming out the window at the world. Fortunately, my commute does not need to encounter that interstate very often. So usually if there's a bunch of traffic but of course if there's a bunch of traffic, there's usually a bunch of traffic on that. So, okay. I think I've about worn out the possibilities of this video. So I'm sure the next question that could potentially come to mind for people is project. And I can honestly say at this point, I really didn't have a project in mind when I purchased this. I did want to get the most recent season. Part of the reason I got this season is because it is a Bills playoffs. This is the first time the Bills made the playoffs in like 17 years, was the 2017 season. So does that mean that there's a Bills replay on the way? I don't. I hazard to say no, because my history with replaying memorable seasons for me lives in infamy. So, but having said that, I'm not sure. I've been thinking about scaling back some of my future plans to be a little bit more, streamlined, a little less broad in terms of the number of games. So we'll see. It's definitely not going to be a full season replay. Maybe it'll be another thing, kind of like I did with second season, 9 teams. But there's time for that. I've got to see how this game plays in basic and advanced and then super advanced. And first of all, what I got to do is start taking a look at the rules. So, but make no mistake, there's still golf that is going to be on the way here soon. But I kind of got a little money burning the hole in the pocket kind of syndrome, and this was on my to-do get list, and so we did. So you're welcome to like this video. That would be extremely kind of you. If not, no problem. But I don't know if anybody would like an unboxing video, but you got a few of you watching live. So but subscribe to the channel. At some point you'll get to see some Strat football come across your notifications, plus a whole bunch of other stuff like golf and Strat baseball and other types of baseball, and including maybe the All-Star lineup baseball again. Maybe try to get another game of that in here before too long. So thanks a lot. I'm going to sign off and start reading this rule book. See you soon with some golf and maybe some other goodies. Till next time, enjoy and roll on, everybody.